Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark, the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1939 comedy romance Ninotchka.
This whole thing seems very suspicious.
Hey, hold on a second. I promise I'm not trying to do anything suspicious. My only goal for the next, 5 or 6 years is to review every movie in this book, the 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. Ninotchka stars Greta Garbo. This is the third film for this list that I've done of Greta Garbo's. The other two are Camille and Queen Christina. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is probably the last film I will review of hers from this list. She plays the title character of Ninotchka. We also have Melvyn Douglas, who's playing Leon, and Ina Claire, who plays Swan. This film was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, also Best Actress for a Lead, Greta Garbo. This would be the final time that she would be nominated for an Academy Award, as she left Hollywood abruptly in 1940. She never gave a reason, but a lot of people believe there's a few reasons why she might have left Hollywood. She had declining box office sales, the type of movies that people wanted to see were starting to change, and she hated the limelight. She did not like the attention. She did not like Hollywood. She basically left to become a recluse for the rest of her life. Now, I think this is a tragedy because all the films I've seen with Greta Garbo are fantastic, and they are because she is such a great actress. She has such range, such emotion. She's able to do these 180 arcs like no one else can do. Just a phenomenal actress, and I wish there would have been more films with her on this list, but she only did so many. So what can you do? This was Greta Garbo's first full comedy. It's famous for transitioning her on-screen image. She's known primarily for serious and dramatic roles before this, and she had rarely done comedy roles. It is a sharp political satire. It was released just before World War II, and I mean just before. World War II started in 1940. This was released in 1939, so we are right on the cusp of war. Ninotchka cleverly satirizes the contrast between Soviet communism and Western capitalism. It was directed by Lubitsch. It is a prime example of the Lubitsch touch, a style known for elegance, subtle humor, and suggestive storytelling. This movie was co-written by Billy Wilder, and it's a landmark romantic comedy. It blends romance, politics, and satire in a way that influenced later romantic comedies. I think this film is great. Like I said, Greta Garbo's acting is phenomenal. I also think that Melvyn Douglas has great chemistry with her. They play off each other very well. You could really believe that these two could actually be in a relationship in real life. They just have that much chemistry with each other. There's also three sort of side characters, but also sort of main characters in this film named Ironov, Baljanov, and Kaplaski. I'm pronouncing those all wrong. I apologize. This is exactly why I couldn't get through Crime and Punishment, because I can't read Russian names. But that's basically what their names are. Now, when this movie opens up, we have jewels that are confiscated from the aristocracy during the Russian Revolution. These three gentlemen, Irmanov, Baljanov, and Kaplaski, are attempting to sell these jewels. Now, they obviously think that they have a right to them. But the former Grand Duchess Swana, who these are her family jewels, she's alerted through different channels that her jewels are found. They were lost for a very long time, and they're now trying to be sold by these three men. So she ends up hiring Leon to help her retrieve these jewels for her. Now, he believes that the jewels were stolen illegally by the Soviet government, and what he does at first is he gets these three men into a restaurant, and he gets them sloppy drunk, and he has them sign this piece of paper that says that everything's copacetic, and they're going to return the jewels or whatever. Now, obviously, I don't know how they do things in Paris, but in the United States, if they sign something like this, it wouldn't be legal because they're under duress, they're drunk, they don't understand the contract. Russia hears what's going on. They are not happy with how these three gentlemen are handling this jewel sale, so they hire a special envoy named Ninotchka to help win the lawsuit. And at first, she's rigid, she is methodical, she is stern, she's very focused. She's laser focused on winning this for Russia and doing what needs to be done. To kind of contrast the difference between Soviet communism and Western capitalism, when she first gets to Paris, she's given this big, luxurious room. It's huge. It has all the amenities that you could ever want. And her first reaction is like, how many people do I have to share this room with? Because we'll learn later that her room in Russia, she shares it with 2 other people. So it's ridiculous for her to think that she would get this entire room to herself. Now, the 3 men, Irmanov, Baljanov, and Kaplasky, they all tell her that this is her room. She asks how much the room is per night, and when they tell her, she basically says, that's like 7 cows in Russia. I feel like I'm taking away 7 cows from the people of Russia. This doesn't settle well with me, which to me is immediately hilarious. It's immediately funny. So she's all business. For some reason, she wants the dimensions of the Eiffel Tower and how many steps there are, and she's asking for all these like blueprints and all these plans and all these things. These laws about the different ownerships of the jewels and all this stuff, and she knows what she needs, she knows what she wants, and she's going after it. Now, while she's trying to find the Eiffel Tower and trying to get her way to the Eiffel Tower, she runs into Leon. Obviously, at first, she doesn't know that this is the person that she's supposed to be going toe-to-toe with legally, the person that's going to be challenging her for these jewels and these diamonds. So she meets him and she asks him for directions to the Eiffel Tower. He's immediately enamored by her. He loves like her rigidity. He loves the fact that she's unlike any other person he's ever met in his life. He loves the fact that she's Russian when he finds out that she's Russian. And he basically falls head over heels for this woman. He is totally in love. You can just see it in his eyes, in his face. The acting of Melvyn Douglas in this film is amazing. He looks enamored. He looks like he's just met the love of his life for the first time. And it's absolutely fantastic. Now he ends up she ends up saying like, aren't you going to like invite me back to your house? Which he's surprised about because he thought that this was going to be a lot more work. He thought he was going to have to do more to convince this woman that she should go back to his house, to his place. So they ended up going back to his place, and they have a very lovely time. And she ends up finding out that he is the person that she is supposed to be going toe-to-toe with. He finds out that she's that person. She finds out that he's that person. Now, she wants to kind of cut this off right away because this is supposed to be all business. She can't be sleeping with the enemy, essentially. But he doesn't seem like he really cares at all about this jewel thing. He's like, let's just forget there's jewels. Let's just focus on our relationship. Let's focus on who we are as a couple. This jewel thing will settle itself out. Whoever wins will win. Doesn't matter. To the victor goes the spoils, whatever. Who cares about that? Someone will get the jewels, and then that's them. Let's focus on our relationship. Like, I'm in love with you. I want to be with you. But she's very much against it at first. She does not want to focus on the jewels or to focus on this relationship. Eventually, though, he meets her at a restaurant by chance, and he starts telling her all these like dad jokes, these jokes that he thinks are hilarious. I mean, they are pretty funny. They are. I thought they were funny. I love dad jokes, though. She doesn't think they're very funny, though. She just says they're silly. They're silly jokes. That's how she describes it. But later on, and he gets so upset by this. He gets so mad that she does not like his jokes. He's just fuming because he's like, how could no one like my jokes? I'm hilarious. But later on, she'll just be sitting at this meeting where her and her Russian team are trying to discuss strategy and stuff, and she'll just start busting out laughing because she's remembering these jokes that he told, and she's finally getting them, and she finally thinks that they're funny. And this is where you kind of see the crack in her armor, I would say, where she starts falling in love. She starts trying to like get out of her rigidity and dress like she wants to go out on the town, like she wants to have a good time. She starts letting her hair down a little bit. Her and Leon end up going to dinner, and then they end up spending the night together. And while they're like dancing and having fun, they go home and they're both kind of drunk, and they get into the safe that these jewels are being held in just for now until this lawsuit is over. And they get in the safe, and she puts on the crown, and she ends up falling asleep with the crown. He ends up falling asleep in the room next door. They don't like do anything because they're both drunk. He kind of just leaves, and the next day she wakes up, and Swana, who is the one who is supposed to have she thinks she has the legal right to these jewels and everything, shows up at her door and basically says that she has a proposition that she wants to float by Ninotchka, that I'll give you all the jewels, you can win this case, all I ask is that you leave, because she is also in love with Leon, and she doesn't want Ninotchka and Leon to be together. So you'll get everything you want, you just have to go back to Russia and agree to never see Leon again. Now, at first she doesn't want to do this, but then she realized she doesn't have the crown on her head anymore, and her jewels are gone. Now, Swana has been able to have people kind of look into what Leon and her are doing. They figured out what the combination was to this safe. They took all the jewels, and she says, I have the jewels now, so if you want them back and you want all this to work out for you, all you gotta do is get on that plane to Russia. So she ends up doing it. She may be in love. She is very much in love with Leon, but she also loves her country, and she wants to do what's right by her country. She basically came to do a job to get these jewels back, and she has a chance now to do it without going to trial. So she ends up doing it. Leon finds out through Swana the next day about what happened. He's supposed to be going to dinner later on with Ninotchka, but that's obviously not going to happen. And then Ninotchka ends up going back to Russia. She ends up going back to that one room where she's sharing with two other people. Now, Aronov, Bolzhanov, and Kaplasky are there too, and they end up having dinner with her. This is also kind of shows you the difference between Russia and France and the Western cultures, is that they were struggling to find these eggs eggs that they were going to boil or whatever to make an omelet, to fry to make an omelet. They each had to bring an egg. Ninotchka ended up having 2 eggs, and this was like a feast for them. This is something that is unheard of in Russia. So they end up staying together and trying to make this omelet. Now Leon is desperately trying to get to Russia. He's trying to get a visa so he can get to Russia so he can go see her. He goes to to the Russian consulate or whatever it is to get his visa, and they tell him no, because there's no love in Russia. You can't go to Russia for love. It's not done. You seem like a spy. Something's very weird about you. I'm not going to give you that visa. And every time he tries to get a visa somewhere, apparently it doesn't work. So what he does is he hashes out this plan that we find out later, where Irmanov, Bolzhanov, and Kaplasky end up going somewhere, I don't remember where it is, on some official business, and they open up this restaurant that's financed by Leon, and they cause this great stir and this great commotion, and they make Russia look really bad while they have this restaurant open, so bad that they send Ninotchka back to take care of these 3 people, and she ends up finding Leon and falling back in love again, and they all decide that they're going to defect, basically, that they're not going back to Russia, that they're going to stay and have this fantastic life, Ninotchka and Leon. And that is basically the movie, all wrapped up in a nice little bundle. The story, to me, this is one of the few films I've ever watched in my life where the whole jewel thing with selling the jewels, and none of that really matters. It's just a backstory almost. It's almost like it's background music in this because you need some sort of plot to keep the film going, to keep it interesting, and it's just kind of there. But the movie, for me, the real film here is the transition of Ninotchka from this rigid, stern, very serious person to this woman who finds love. She finds elegance. She finds actually enjoying being dainty and letting her hair down and being vulnerable. That transition that Greta Garbo does is the movie to me, as well as the relationship between her and Leon, and her relationship between the 3 Russian people who originally are there to sell these jewels. Like, that's the entire movie. I don't care about any of this jewel stuff, whether they sell them or they don't sell them, or one side gets them. It's not like I was rooting for the Russian side to get the jewels, or the France side to get the jewels. I didn't really care about any of that. That plot didn't even have to end. Like, they could have not even gone back to that. I wouldn't have cared. It's the relationship. It's the love story. It's the transition that Greta Garbo does that is this movie, and I think it is absolutely phenomenal. She is, like I said, she is such a great actress that she seamlessly does this on screen over the hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever this movie is. It's so believable. The relationship is so believable. The relationship she has with these three other Russian gentlemen, everything is just really well done. The acting is just so phenomenal. There's also some really good bits of cinematography in here too. The music is really good. Everything's great. Direction is fantastic as well. But this is all about the acting. This is all about that transition. This is all about the love story. I think it's all done really well. The chemistry that Leon and Ninotchka have on screen is just amazing. And in the beginning, you could really, I talked about this a little bit earlier when I was talking about the synopsis, but you could really feel and really see on his face and in his gestures and in his movements and what he's doing that Leon is just head over heels at first sight in love with Ninotchka, and he's basically going to dedicate the rest of this movie and his entire life to getting her. And I really like the fact that he didn't care about how this case ended. Like, he didn't care if he won. He didn't care if they got the jewels. Like, a little bit of him maybe inside cares about it, but all he cares about is going after this woman that he loves. All he cares about is winning her heart. She is just so unique to him. She is so different than anything he's ever seen before. He knows that this is going to be the love of his life. He knows that this is going to be the one person, and he's laser focused on that. And I think that is phenomenal. I would have hated if this was all about him trying to win this case and at the same time also trying to win her. That would have just been too much, I think, going on at one time. But the fact that he's laser focused on her, I thought was phenomenal. I just think this movie is really well done. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I hope you join me next time when I review a little indie movie, a little film that not a lot of people have heard of, not a lot of people have seen, but I'm sure maybe your grandparents have seen it. Maybe you know someone who saw it. It's going to be The Wizard of Oz. Thank you. I hope you have a great day.